6 months of peace felt like a lie waiting to be exposed. Jin-ho stood in the kitchen, cracking eggs into a bowl with hands that still remembered being useless. The scar tissue on his lower back pulled when he reached for the whisk, a reminder that recovery wasn't the same as erasure. He could walk now, work now, live now, but his body kept receipts of everything it had survived. The coffee maker hissed behind him. Morning light slanted through the window over a sink that needed dishes washed. Normal problems. The kind he'd once paid people to handle. The kind he now handled himself and didn't mind. "You're up early," Naomi said from the doorway. Jin-ho turned. She leaned against the frame in one of his old t-shirts and pajama pants, arms crossed, eyes tired in a way that had become familiar over the past 2 weeks. Dark circles she blamed on bad sleep. A pallor she blamed on stress. He blamed himself for not noticing sooner. "Couldn't sleep," he said. "Thought I'd make breakfast." "You don't have to do that." "I know." She crossed to the counter, picked up the coffee he'd already poured for her, took one sip and set it down like it tasted wrong. Jin-ho watched her grimace. "Still off?" he asked. "Everything tastes weird lately." She rubbed her temples. "I think I'm getting sick. Maybe you should see a doctor." "It's probably just a bug." Jin-ho stirred eggs in the pan, watching them scramble into something edible. 6 months ago he couldn't hold a fork. Now he made breakfast while the woman who'd taught him how to stand again leaned against his counter looking exhausted. "You've been tired for weeks," he said carefully. "I've fine." She wasn't. But Naomi had a way of carrying weight silently, and Jin-ho had learned not to push. She'd pushed him through physical therapy when his legs screamed, pushed him through despair when his ex-wife's lawyers circled, pushed him until he remembered how to be human. He owed her patience. The eggs finished. He plated them with toast, set everything on the small table that fit their small kitchen in their small house. Nothing like the penthouse he'd lost. Everything like the life he'd built. Naomi sat across from him, picking at her food. "How's the Harrison contract?" she asked. "Signed yesterday. They want us to handle security for 3 locations." "That's good." "It's enough." His consulting business wasn't an empire. It was 4 employees, legitimate work, and income that paid bills without crushing souls. His former business partners had carved up his old company like a carcass. His brother had tried to take control of his medical decisions. His wife had fled with his money, and somehow he'd ended up here, happier than he'd been when he had everything. Naomi pushed eggs around her plate. "You ever regret it?" "Regret what?" "This. Us. Giving up what you had." Jin-ho set down his fork. "I didn't give up anything that mattered. Your whole life. My whole life was built on fear and control. This is better. This is smaller. This is real." Naomi looked at him then, really looked, with eyes that still didn't understand why he'd chosen her, why he kept choosing her. She'd been his caregiver when he was broken, stayed when everyone scattered, loved him when he was unlovable, and she still didn't see what he saw when he looked at her. "I need to tell you something," she started. Jin-ho's phone buzzed. He ignored it. It buzzed again. "Take it," Naomi said. "It might be work." He checked the screen. Unknown number. He almost declined, but something made him answer. "Mr. Park." A woman's voice. Professional. Cold. "This is Attorney Kim Sunmi. I represent your mother, Madam Choi. She'd like to schedule a meeting to discuss family matters." Jin-ho's stomach dropped. "I don't have family matters. Your mother disagrees. She's expecting you at the estate this Friday at 2. She asked me to inform you that attendance isn't optional. Tell her I'm busy." She anticipated that response. She also asked me to mention that she's already hired investigators regarding certain aspects of your current living situation. I think you'll want to hear what she has to say. The line went dead. Jin-ho stared at his phone. "Who was that?" Naomi asked. "My mother's lawyer." Naomi's face went carefully neutral. "You told me your mother cut you off after the divorce." "She did." "Then why?" "I don't know." But he did. Deep in his gut, where instinct lived, he knew. His mother never reached out unless she wanted something. And she never wanted anything good. Naomi stood, suddenly pale, hand pressed to her mouth. "I need the bathroom." She ran. Jin-ho heard her getting sick through the closed door. His phone buzzed again. Text message. Unknown number. She thinks she's safe. She thinks you've forgotten who you are. We'll remind both of you. See you Friday. Mother. Below it, another text. A photo. Naomi, leaving a medical clinic Jin-ho didn't recognize, paperwork in her hand. The timestamp. 3 hours ago. This morning. While he'd been sleeping. Jin-ho's hands went cold. Across the city, in a restaurant where breakfast cost more than most people's rent, Madam Choi sat across from a woman whose face she'd hoped never to see again. Sukja, Jin-ho's ex-wife, smiled over her mimosa like a cat with a cornered mouse. Thank you for meeting with me, Sukja said. I know we didn't part on good terms. You abandoned my son when he was paralyzed, Madam Choi said flatly. There were no terms. I made a mistake. I was scared. I panicked. You were greedy. Sukja smiled tightened. I was honest. Your son built his empire on violence and fear. When that crumbled, I saw no reason to stay. And now he's rebuilt. Smaller, yes. But stable. Legitimate. Profitable. Madam Choi sipped her tea. And you want back in? I want what I'm owed. As his wife. Ex-wife. The divorce was finalized under duress. He was medicated, vulnerable, making decisions while mentally compromised. My lawyer thinks we have grounds to challenge it. Your lawyer is expensive and wrong. Sukja leaned forward. You don't want that woman in your family any more than I do. Madam Choi said nothing. She's a caregiver, Sukja continued. Hired help who got too comfortable. She's using him. Taking advantage of his gratitude. She stayed when you ran. She stayed because she had nowhere else to go. Or she stayed because she's better than you. You really want a maid as the mother of your grandchildren? Madam Choi's expression didn't change, but her eyes sharpened. What grandchildren? Sukja slid a folder across the table. Medical records. Obtained by a private investigator. Your son's little caregiver visited a clinic this morning. She's pregnant. Madam Choi opened the folder. Read. Closed it. She hasn't told him yet, Sukja said. She's probably planning her exit strategy. Calculating child support. Paternity leverage. Or she's scared. Of what? Of you. Sukja smiled. She should be. Because if you don't stop this, that woman will destroy what's left of your family name. A park heir raised by hired help. Your legacy reduced to. Enough. Madam Choi stood. I'll handle this. How? By reminding my son who he is. And more importantly, who she isn't. Madam Choi left cash on the table and walked out. Sukja sat alone, smiling into her drink. She'd planted the seed. Now she just had to wait for it to burn everything down. Friday arrived like a funeral. Jin-ho stood outside his mother's estate, staring at gates he hadn't seen in 18 months. Black iron. Gold accents. A driveway that costs more than most houses. Everything designed to remind visitors they didn't belong. He belonged once. Before the paralysis. Before the divorce. Before he learned what his family really valued. The gates opened without him touching the intercom. Someone had been watching. Naomi sat in the passenger seat, hands folded in her lap. She'd insisted on coming despite Jin-ho telling her this wasn't her fight. Your fights are my fights, she'd said. Now she looked small beside him, staring up at a house that probably had more bathrooms than her childhood home had rooms. You don't have to do this, Jin-ho said. Yes, I do. She's going to be cruel. I've handled cruel before. Jin-ho knew that. He'd seen the scars on Naomi's wrists from restraints used during her late husband's final days, when dementia made him violent. Heard stories about previous employers who treated her like furniture. Watched her endure his own rage during physical therapy when pain made him vicious. She'd survived worse than his mother. But his mother had resources cruelty didn't need. They walked to the front door. It opened before Jin-ho could knock. The housekeeper, new young terrified, gestured them inside. Madam Choi is waiting in the study. The house smelled like expensive candles and old money. Marble floors. Crystal chandeliers. Art that costs more than Jin-ho's current annual income. Nothing had changed. Everything felt different. The study door was open. His mother sat behind a desk that had belonged to his grandfather, his great-grandfather, every park man who'd built this family's name on other people's backs. Madame Choi looked up. She'd aged. Gray streaked her perfectly styled hair. Lines framed her mouth. But her eyes were the same. Sharp. Calculating. Cold. Gino. She didn't stand. Didn't smile. You're late. Traffic. You live 20 minutes away. I wanted to be late. His mother's gaze shifted to Naomi. Slid over her like evaluating livestock. Miss Williams. How considerate of you to join us. Naomi's spine straightened. Mrs. Park. Madame Choi. I'm no longer married to Jin Ho's father. She gestured to chairs across from her desk. Seat. Jin Ho remained standing. Naomi stayed beside him. I prefer to stand, Jin Ho said. I prefer obedient sons. We don't always get what we want. Madame Choi opened a folder. Though some of us get more than we deserve. She slid a paper across the desk. Medical records. Naomi's name. Clinic letterhead. Pregnancy confirmation dated 4 days ago. Jin Ho's blood went cold. Naomi's hand found his. Squeezed. Where did you get this? Jin Ho's voice came out flat. Dangerous. Private investigator. Very thorough. Very expensive. Worth everyone. That's illegal. So is fraud. What fraud? Madame Choi leaned back. Your caregiver, excuse me, your girlfriend, has been living in your home, using your resources, and apparently carrying your child without disclosing critical information. That sounds like manipulation to me. She just found out, Jin Ho said. Did she? The clinic visit was Monday. Today is Friday. For days to mention she's pregnant. Unless she wasn't planning to tell you at all. Naomi's hand trembled in his. Or maybe, Madame Choi continued, she was calculating her options. Deciding how much she could extract before disappearing with your baby and a child support check. That's not, Naomi started. I wasn't speaking to you. The dismissal landed like a slap. Jin Ho stepped forward. You don't talk to her like that. I'll talk to her however I want in my house. Then we're leaving. Sit down, Jin Ho. No. Madame Choi's expression hardened. You think you're free because you walked away from the family business? You think building some little security company makes you independent? You're still a Park. That name comes with obligations. I don't want the name. Too bad. You have it. Along with a responsibility to this family's legacy. A legacy that doesn't include. She looked at Naomi. Unsuitable attachments. Yin hoesyaftaittend. Careful. Why? Worried I'll offend the help. Naomi pulled her hand free. Her voice came out quiet. Steady. I'm going to wait in the car. Naomi. It's fine. She looked at Madame Choi. I know what I am. I don't need your approval. She walked out. The door closed. Silence filled the study. Jin Ho turned back to his mother. If you ever speak to her like that again. You'll what? Cut me off. You already did that. Walk away? You've been doing that since the accident. You have no leverage here, Jin Ho. I have my life. That's enough. Is it? Madame Choi stood. Walked to the window overlooking gardens Jin Ho used to play in as a child. When that baby is born, what will you tell them? That their grandmother is a woman their father hates? That their family rejected them before they took their first breath? I'll tell them the truth. That blood doesn't make family. Love does. How poetic. How naive. She turned. That woman was hired to bathe you when you couldn't walk. To feed you when you couldn't hold a spoon. She saw you at your weakest. You're most pathetic. And now she's pregnant. You really think that's love? Yes. You think it's coincidence? I think you're bitter because I survived without you. Madame Choi's smile was thin. I'm protecting you from making another catastrophic mistake. Your last wife was unsuitable. This one is worse. At least Sukja came from a respectable family. Jino laughed. Sharp. Harsh. Sukja emptied our accounts while I was unconscious. Filed for divorce before I could open my eyes. Tried to have me declared incompetent, so she could control what was left. And this woman is different. She stayed. She had nowhere else to go. She had everywhere else to go. She chose me anyway. Madame Choi crossed her arms. Fine. Let's say I believe you. Let's say she loves you. What happens when reality hits? When that baby needs things you can't afford because you walked away from real money. When she realizes she traded security for sentiment. She didn't trade anything. We built something together. You built a fantasy. I'm offering you a way back to reality. I don't want it. Then what do you want? You to leave us alone. Madam Choi walked to her desk, pulled out another folder. This one thicker. I had that investigator dig deeper. Your Naomi has an interesting past. Jin-ho's stomach dropped. Stop. Her late husband died 3 years ago. Officially heart failure. But the medical examiner noted bruising. Suspicious circumstances. The case was closed for lack of evidence, but... Stop talking. There were questions about his medication. Whether doses were adjusted. Whether someone with medical knowledge might have. Jin-ho slammed his hand on the desk. She watched her husband die slowly of dementia for 2 years. She held him when he didn't recognize her. Fed him when he forgot how to swallow. And you're accusing her of murder because you can't stand that I'm happy. I'm showing you what you refused to see. This woman isn't a saint. She's a survivor. And survivors do what they must to survive. Jin-ho stared at his mother. At the woman who'd taught him to walk as a child. Who'd taught him to be ruthless as a man. Who was now trying to destroy the one person who'd taught him to be human. You have 2 choices, Madam Choi said. End this relationship. Raise your child properly within this family with appropriate guidance. Or continue down this path, and watch me dismantle every piece of the life you've built. You can't. I can. I own half your business through shell companies you didn't know existed. Your investors? My people. Your contracts? My connections. I've been watching Jin-ho, waiting to see if you'd come to your senses. You haven't. So now I apply pressure. Jin-ho's hands curled into fists. Why? Because you're my son. Because that baby is my grandchild. Because I won't let some opportunistic caregiver hijack my family's legacy. She's not. Prove it. End things. I'll ensure she's compensated. The baby will be provided for. You can have visitation. But she goes. No. Then you both lose. The door opened. Zukja walked in. Jin-ho's entire body went rigid. His ex-wife looked the same. Designer clothes. Perfect makeup. Smile like a knife. Hello Jin-ho, she said. Miss me? Jin-ho's vision narrowed to the woman standing in his mother's doorway. Sukya. The woman who'd signed divorce papers while his hospital bed was still warm. Who'd taken his money, his dignity, his trust and burned all 3 without looking back. She stood there now like she had a right to exist in his presence. Get out, Jin-ho said. Jin-ho, don't be rude, his mother said. Sukja is here at my invitation. I don't care whose invitation she has. She leaves or I do. Sukja stepped further into the room. I understand you're angry. You understand nothing. But I'm here because I care about your future. Our future. Jin-ho laughed. No humor in it. Just disbelief. We don't have a future. We don't have a past worth remembering. We have nothing. We have history. You have audacity. Sukja's perfectly composed face flickered with something that might have been hurt if Jin-ho believed she was capable of actual emotion. I made mistakes, she said quietly. I was scared. You were in a coma. The doctors said you might never wake up. And when you did, they said you'd never walk again. I panicked. You robbed me. I took what I needed to survive. You took everything I had while I was unconscious and couldn't stop you. I'm sorry. The words landed flat. Rehearsed. Sukja had probably practiced in a mirror. Jin-ho turned to his mother. This is your play? Bring back the woman who abandoned me and pretend we're all going to reconcile. I'm suggesting, Madam Choi said carefully, that you have options. Sukja made errors in judgment. She's willing to make amends. I don't want her amends. She's willing to return assets she took. That stopped Jin-ho cold. What assets? Sukja opened her purse, pulled out a folder, set it on the desk. Bank statements, investment accounts, property deeds, everything I took during the divorce. I'm prepared to sign it all back to you. Jin-ho stared at the folder like it might explode. Why? Because I was wrong. Because you deserved better. Because, Sukja's voice softened. I never stopped caring about you. You filed for divorce before I could open my eyes. I was terrified. Your injuries were catastrophic. The business was collapsing. I thought you'd want me to save what I could. By stealing it. By preserving it until you recovered. Jin-ho picked up the folder. Flipped through pages. Account numbers he recognized. Properties he'd bought. Money he'd earned and she'd taken. All of it. Right there. Waiting for a signature. What's the catch, he asked. Sukja glanced at his mother. Back to Jin-ho. No catch. There's always a catch with you. Fine. Sukja's mask cracked slightly. I want another chance. Not at the marriage. I know that's over. But at being in your life. At proving I'm more than my worst moment. Your worst moment was 18 months long. Then let me have 18 months to make it right. Jin-ho set the folder down. I don't want your money. You should, Madam Choi interjected. That baby you're having? Children are expensive. Your current income is adequate for a modest life. But adequate isn't inheritance. Adequate isn't legacy. That child deserves more than adequate. That child deserves a father who isn't bought. No one's buying you, Sukja said. I'm returning what was always yours. What you do with it is your choice. Keep seeing your caregiver if you want. Raise your baby however you want. I just want to not be the villain anymore. Jin-ho studied her face. Saw desperation there. Also calculation. Sukja was many things. Stupid wasn't one of them. This performance was too smooth. Too prepared. She wanted something beyond redemption. Where's the signature line? Jin-ho asked. Sukja flipped to the last page. Pointed. Here. You sign. Everything transfers back to you. We're square. Jin-ho pulled out a pen. His mother's eyebrows rose. You're accepting? I'm taking back what she stole. That doesn't mean I'm forgiving her. I'll take it, Sukja said quietly. Jin-ho signed. Slid the folder back. Sukja signed her part. Notarized stamps were already in place. She'd planned this down to the last detail. There, she said. Done. You have everything back. Not everything, Jin-ho said. I'll never have back the version of me that trusted you. Sukja's composure finally cracked. Her eyes went wet. I know. But maybe someday you'll understand why I did what I did. I already understand. You're selfish. You panicked. You took the easy way out. I was human. You were cruel. Sukja stood. I'll leave you with your mother. But Jin-ho? That woman outside in your car? She's been through something too. Her husband died under suspicious circumstances. She was investigated. The case was closed but the questions weren't answered. Jin-ho's blood went cold. What are you implying? Nothing. Just that everyone has a past. Everyone makes choices they regret. Maybe you should ask her about hers before you judge mine too harshly. She walked out. The door closed. Silence pressed against Jin-ho's eardrums. His mother folded her hands on her desk. Well, that was productive. That was a setup. That was an opportunity. You now have the resources to provide properly for your child. Sukja has shown goodwill. And you've been reminded that the woman carrying your baby has secrets you haven't bothered to learn. Jin-ho's hands shook. Naomi's husband died of heart failure. After 2 years of her providing his medical care. After she was the only witness to his final moments. After insurance paid out a substantial policy that somehow disappeared within 6 months. She used that money to pay off his medical debts. Did she? Or did she tell you that because it sounds noble? Jin-ho grabbed his jacket. I'm leaving. Ask her about the investigation, Jin-ho. Ask her why the medical examiner flagged medication discrepancies. Ask her why his family tried to sue her for wrongful death before the case was dropped for lack of evidence. Her husband had dementia. He was dying. She gave him comfort in his final days. Or she gave him something else. Something that ended things faster. Jin-ho stopped at the door. You're accusing her of murder. I'm telling you what investigators found. What you choose to believe is your decision. But before you build a life with this woman, before you hand her your child, maybe you should know who she really is. Jin-ho walked out. Down the hallway. Through the foyer. Out the front door into air that felt too clean after the poison inside. Naomi sat in the passenger seat, staring at nothing. Jin-ho got in. Started the car. Drove. They were 3 blocks away before she spoke. What did she want? Jin-ho's hands gripped the steering wheel. To destroy us. Did it work? No. But his voice lacked certainty. Because in his mind, questions bloomed like rot. Naomi's husband. The investigation. The insurance money. The medical examiner's concerns. Things he'd never asked about because he trusted her. Things his mother planted like landmines. Jino. Naomi's voice was small. Whatever she told you about me. She told me you were investigated after your husband died. Silence. Jin-ho pulled over. Turned to face her. Naomi's eyes were wet. Who told you that? Is it true? Yes. The word hit like a bullet. Why didn't you tell me? Jin-ho asked. Because it was the worst time of my life and I didn't want to relive it. Because I was cleared. Because it doesn't matter. It matters if people think you killed him. Naomi's face crumpled. I didn't kill him. He was dying. I gave him comfort. I held him when he was scared. I was investigated because his sister hated that he left me everything in his will. She claimed I manipulated him. Claimed I overdosed his medication. The medical examiner found inconsistencies in his charts but nothing provable. The case was closed. But not resolved. It was resolved. I was innocent. Legally innocent or actually innocent? The question hung between them. Naomi stared at him. You're asking me if I murdered my husband. I'm asking if there's truth to what they're saying. They're saying I'm a gold digger who trapped you while you were vulnerable. They're saying I got pregnant on purpose. They're saying I killed my last partner, and I'll destroy you too. Her voice broke. Is that what you believe? Jin-ho's throat was tight. I don't know what I believe. Naomi unbuckled her seatbelt. Then I'll make it easy for you. She opened the car door. Naomi, wait. She got out. Started walking. Jin-ho scrambled out of the car. Where are you going? Away from people who think I'm a murderer. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. She turned. Tears streaked her face. You asked if I killed him. That tells me everything. I asked because they're going to use it against us. No. You asked because part of you wonders if it's true. Part of you thinks maybe I'm exactly what your mother says I am. That's not. I stayed with you when you were broken. I cleaned you when you couldn't move. I held you when you wanted to die. And the first time your family whispers poison, you believe them over me. Jin-ho reached for her. I'm trying to protect us. Naomi stepped back. You're trying to protect yourself. From me. From the mistake you think you're making. That's not fair. None of this is fair. But I'm done fighting people who've already decided who I am. She walked away. Jin-ho stood on the sidewalk, watching her disappear around a corner. His phone buzzed. Text from his mother. Now you see. She runs when confronted. Imagine what she'll do when things get harder. Mother. Jin-ho looked at the message. At the empty sidewalk. At the choice crystallizing in front of him. Believe his family. Or believe his heart. And he didn't know which would destroy him faster. Naomi walked until her feet ached. 2 miles. 3. She lost count. Her phone buzzed 17 times. Jin-ho calling. Texting. Begging her to come back. She ignored all of it. At a bus stop bench, she finally sat. Pressed her palms against her stomach where a life was growing that didn't ask to be part of this mess. A baby. Jin-ho's baby. A child who'd be born into a family that thought its mother was a murderer. Her phone rang again. Different number. She almost didn't answer. Hello. Miss Williams? This is Attorney Kim Sunmi. We spoke briefly at Madame Choi's estate. Naomi's stomach turned. How did you get this number? I represent interested parties who'd like to discuss your future. I'm not interested. $10 million, Miss Williams. Naomi's breath caught. I'm sorry. $10 million. Transferred to an account of your choosing. Tax-free. Immediate. In exchange for signing away parental rights to the child you're carrying. And agreeing to never contact Jin-ho Park or his family again. The world tilted. You're bribing me to disappear. I'm offering you financial security. Your late husband's medical bills left you bankrupt. You work 2 jobs. Live in a rental apartment. This money would change your life. I don't want their money. Everyone wants money, Miss Williams. They just pretend otherwise until the number gets high enough. I'm hanging up. Before you do, consider this. Jinho's family will never accept you. They have resources you can't imagine. Legal teams. Investigators. Connections. They can make your life unbearable. Or they can make you rich. Your choice. I choose Jinho. Does he choose you? Because from where I'm standing, he just asked if you murdered your husband. That's not love. That's doubt. And doubt grows. Naomi's hand shook. Think about it, the lawyer continued. You have 72 hours. After that, the offer expires and things get unpleasant. We'll be in touch. The line went dead. Naomi stared at her phone. $10 million. More money than she'd see in 3 lifetimes. Enough to raise this baby alone without struggling. Without depending on a man whose family wanted her gone. Without fighting a war she couldn't win. She thought about her late husband, Marcus. Sweet, gentle Marcus who'd slowly forgotten who she was. Who'd looked at her with terror in his final months like she was a stranger trying to hurt him. Who'd needed medication around the clock to manage pain, anxiety, seizures. The night he died, she'd held him. Given him his pills like always. Watched him fall asleep. And when he stopped breathing, she'd called 911 knowing it was already over. The medical examiner found inconsistencies. Medication levels slightly higher than prescribed. Timing that didn't match her log entries. His sister screamed murder. Hired lawyers. Demanded investigations. The case went nowhere because there was nowhere to go. Marcus was dying. Everyone knew it. The medications kept him comfortable. The dose variations were explained by his deteriorating ability to swallow consistently. But cleared didn't mean innocent in some people's minds. It meant lucky. And now Jinho's family was using that old wound to bleed her dry. Her phone buzzed. Jinho again. Please come home. We need to talk. I'm sorry. Please. Home. He called it home. But whose home was it really? His house. His money. His life she'd been borrowed into. She texted back. I need time. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. How much time? I don't know. Where are you? Safe. Naomi, please. I was wrong to ask. I was scared. My mother got in my head. I don't believe what she said. I believe you. Do you? Long pause. Yes. But the pause said more than the word. Naomi put her phone away. Flagged a bus. Rode it to her old apartment. The one she'd kept just in case. The studio with peeling paint and broken heat that she couldn't quite let go of, because some part of her always knew this fairy tale had an expiration date. Inside, everything was exactly as she'd left it. Small. Lonely. Hers. She sat on the bed, put her hand on her stomach, and for the first time since seeing that positive test, she let herself cry. Not sad tears. Angry ones. Because she'd done everything right. Stayed when others left. Loved when it was hard. Asked for nothing. And it still wasn't enough. Across the city, Jinho sat in his car outside his mother's estate. Engine off. Hands on the wheel. Staring at nothing. His phone showed Naomi's last message. Safe. Not home. Not coming back. Safe. Like he was the danger now. His mother had won this round. Planted doubt. Fractured trust. Driven a wedge that might never come out. And Jinho had let her. He'd asked the question. Did you kill him? The words that couldn't be unspoken. The doubt that couldn't be unfelt. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. He almost didn't answer. What? Mr. Park. A man's voice. Professional. Cold. This is Detective Han from the Metro Police. I need you to come to the station. We have questions about Naomi Williams and the death of her late husband Marcus Williams. Your name came up in a reopened investigation. Jinho's blood froze. What investigation? New evidence surfaced. We need your statement regarding Miss Williams' access to medications and her current relationship status with you. She was cleared years ago. Cases can be reopened with sufficient cause. Can you come involuntarily, or do we need to compel your cooperation? Jinho's hands went numb. His mother. This was his mother. I'll come in. Tomorrow morning. 9 a.m. Don't discuss this with Miss Williams. The line went dead. Jinho sat in the darkness, understanding finally what his family was capable of. They weren't just trying to separate him from Naomi. They were trying to destroy her completely. And he'd handed them the weapon by asking if she was capable of murder. Jin-ho didn't sleep. He sat in his empty house, staring at the couch where Naomi used to read, the kitchen where she made coffee wrong on purpose because she knew he'd fix it, and it made him smile. The bedroom door she'd left open in case he needed her during the night when recovery was hard. Every corner held her absence. At 8 a.m., he drove to the police station. Detective Han looked exactly like his voice suggested. Mid-50s. Tired eyes. The expression of a man who'd seen enough lies to stop believing anyone. Mr. Park. Thank you for coming in. He gestured to an interview room. Gray walls. Metal table. Chair bolted to the floor. Gino sat. Detective Han didn't waste time. How long have you known Miss Williams? 18 months. And your relationship? She was my caregiver after I was paralyzed. Now we're together. Together how? We live together. We're having a child. Detective Han wrote something. Were you aware of her late husband's death? Yes. Were you aware of the investigation into that death? Not until yesterday. She didn't mention it. It was closed. She was cleared. Cleared isn't the same as innocent, Mr. Park. Sometimes cases are closed because evidence is insufficient, not because it doesn't exist. What's this about? Detective Han pulled out a folder. We received an anonymous tip 3 days ago. Medical records from Marcus Williams' final weeks. Someone highlighted discrepancies between prescribed doses and actual administration logs. Also bank records showing Miss Williams accessed her husband's accounts 2 days before his death. Transferred significant amounts. To pay his medical bills. Or to secure assets before he died. She was his wife. His caregiver. She had power of attorney. Which makes it easier to manipulate medications and finances. Detective Han leaned forward. Mr. Park, I'm not saying she's guilty. I'm saying there are questions. Questions someone wants answered. Someone being my mother. Detective Han's expression didn't change. I can't discuss who filed the complaint. You don't have to. This is harassment. My family wants Naomi gone, so they're using you to scare her. If that's true, then she has nothing to worry about. We investigate. We find nothing. Case closes again. Detective Han tapped the folder. But if we do find something, and you've been protecting her, that makes you an accessory. Gino stood. Are you charging me with something? No. Then I'm leaving. One more question, Mr. Park. Has Miss Williams ever had access to your medications? During your recovery? When you couldn't monitor your own care? Jin-ho's blood went cold. Because the answer was yes. Naomi had administered everything. Pain pills. Muscle relaxants. Anti-inflammatories. She'd managed his entire medical regimen for months when he was helpless. If she'd wanted to hurt him, she could have. Mr. Park. She gave me what the doctors prescribed. Nothing more. You're certain? Yes. Even when you were unconscious? Sedated? Unable to verify doses? Jin-ho's hands curled into fists. I'm done answering questions. Fair enough. But I need you to understand something. If evidence emerges that Miss Williams harmed her late husband, and you've been living with her, raising a child with her, that puts you and that baby at risk. We'd have to notify Child Protective Services. The words landed like a punch. You're threatening to take my child. I'm informing you of legal protocol. If a parent is under investigation for murder, we protect the child. That's our job. Jin-ho walked out. His hands shook on the steering wheel. They were going to take the baby. His mother wasn't just trying to separate him from Naomi. She was trying to take his child and give him no choice but to come back to the family. And she was using the law to do it. Jin-ho drove to Naomi's old apartment. Knocked. No answer. Knocked again. The door opened. Naomi stood there in clothes she'd slept in. Eyes red. Face hollow. What do you want? They reopened the case, Jin-ho said. My mother filed a complaint. The police are investigating your husband's death again. Naomi's face went white. They questioned me this morning. Asked about medications. About access to my care. They're building a narrative that you're dangerous. I'm not dangerous. I know. Do you? Her voice broke. Because yesterday you asked if I killed Marcus. Today you're here telling me the police think I did. What am I supposed to believe, Jinho? Believe that I'm trying to fix this. You can't fix this. Your family has money, power, lawyers. What do I have? Nothing. I'm nobody. You're the mother of my child. A child they're going to take away. Tears streamed down her face. The detective already called me. Told me child services might get involved. Told me I should consider signing custody to you voluntarily to avoid a fight. Jinho stepped forward. Don't sign anything. Why not? You'll provide better than I can. Your family will make sure the baby has everything. And I'll be free. No more fighting. No more accusations. No more wondering if you believe I'm a killer. I don't think you're a killer. But you asked. I was scared. So am I. Naomi shouted. I'm terrified. Because I did nothing wrong and it doesn't matter. Your mother decided I'm guilty and she has the power to make everyone believe her. Jinho reached for her hands. She pulled away. There's something else, she said quietly. They offered me money. $10 million to disappear. Sign away parental rights. Never contact you again. Jinho's world stopped. When? Yesterday. While I was sitting on a bench trying to figure out if the man I love thinks I'm a murderer. What did you say? I said no. But Jinho, I'm starting to wonder if that was stupid. Maybe I should take the money. Raise this baby far away from your family. Let you have your life back. I don't want my life back. I want you. You want the version of me you invented. The loyal caregiver. The woman who stayed. But you don't know who I really am. You never asked. Then tell me. Naomi's shoulders shook. Marcus didn't just have dementia. He had violent episodes. He hit me. Threw things. Screamed at me like I was the enemy. The medications helped, but some days they didn't. Some days I had to choose between keeping him sedated so he wouldn't hurt us both or letting him suffer through the terror in his own mind. She wrapped her arms around herself. I made choices. Hard choices. Choices nurses aren't supposed to make alone. I adjusted doses when he was in pain. I gave him extra medication when he was violent. I did what I thought was mercy. And when he died, his sister claimed I murdered him because she couldn't accept that I was the one he trusted in his final moments instead of her. Gino listened. The investigation destroyed me, Naomi continued. I lost my job, my reputation, my savings paying lawyers. I was cleared because there was no evidence of wrongdoing, but the doubt never went away. People always wondered, and now your family is making everyone wonder again. I am sorry. Sorry doesn't stop them. Sorry doesn't make the police go away. Sorry doesn't change the fact that you asked if I killed him. She looked at Jinho. I need you to leave. Naomi. Please, just go. Jinho stood there, wanting to fight, not knowing how. I love you, he said. I know, but love isn't enough against what your family can do. Jinho left, walked down the stairs, sat in his car. His phone buzzed. Text from his mother. The detective called. Said you were cooperative. Good. Now end this before she takes everything you have left. The offer stands. 10 million. She walks away. You keep the baby. Everyone wins. Jinho stared at the message. At the building where Naomi was probably crying alone. At the choice that was no longer a choice. Save her. Or save himself. And he finally understood what his mother had known all along. When you make someone choose between love and survival, survival wins. Unless you're willing to burn everything down. Jinho sat in his car for 3 hours, staring at nothing, thinking about everything. His mother wanted Naomi gone. The police wanted answers. Sukja wanted back in. Everyone wanted something from him. Except Naomi. She'd never asked for anything. Not money. Not status. Not promises. She'd just stayed. And he'd repaid her loyalty by asking if she was a murderer. Jinho pulled out his phone, scrolled to a number he hadn't called in 2 years. It rang 4 times. Park Jinho. The voice was rough, familiar. I thought you were done with people like me. I need a favor, Taemin. Silence. Then. You swore you were out. You said you'd never ask. Elite. More silence. What kind of favor? The illegal kind. Taimin Longhead. Low and dark. Now you're talking my language. What do you need? Everything on my mother. Financial records. Shell companies. Offshore accounts. Bribes. Dirty deals. Anything that proves she's been manipulating situations for years. And I need it fast. That's a big ask. Your mother's careful. She's arrogant. Arrogant people make mistakes. This will cost you. Name your price. $500,000. Jinho didn't hesitate. Done. But Taemin, if you burn me. I won't. We're friends. Expensive friends, but friends. A pause. This about that woman? The one who stayed when your wife ran. Yes. Your family giving her hell? They're trying to destroy her. Then let's destroy them first. I'll have something by tomorrow night. The line went dead. Jinho started the car. Drove to his lawyer's office. The same lawyer who'd handled his divorce. Who knew every dirty trick Sukja had pulled. Who owed him favors. Jinho. Attorney Park stood when he entered. I heard about the police investigation. I was going to call you. I need you to do 3 things. First, file a restraining order against my mother. Keep her away from Naomi, me, and our home. On what grounds? Harassment. Invasion of privacy. Illegal acquisition of medical records. That's hard to prove. Then find a way. Second, I need you to prepare custody documents. Full legal custody to me with Naomi listed as mother. Filed before the baby's born. Make it ironclad. That's preemptive. Usually. I don't care about usually. If child services gets involved, I want documentation proving I'm a fit parent and Naomi is not a threat. Third, I need you to investigate the detective handling the reopened case. Who assigned it? Who's funding it? Find the connection to my family. Attorney Park leaned back. You're going to war with your mother. I'm protecting my family. Your mother has resources you can't match. Watch me. Attorney Park studied him. This will get ugly. It's already ugly. I'm just fighting back now. Jinho left. One more stop. The hospital where he'd spent 6 months recovering. Where Naomi had worked before she became his private caregiver. He found Dr. Yoon in her office. The physical therapist who'd overseen his rehabilitation. Jinho, I heard you made a full recovery. I'm so proud. I need you to write a letter, Jinho interrupted. Documenting Naomi's care during my recovery. Stating she administered medications exactly as prescribed. That she was professional, competent, and trustworthy. Dr. Yoon's smile faded. What's going on? Someone's trying to claim she's dangerous. That she might have hurt her late husband. They're implying she could hurt me or our baby. That's insane. Naomi was one of the best caregivers I ever worked with. She went above and beyond. Then put it in writing. Include details. Dates. Medication logs. Anything that proves she's competent and ethical. Dr. Yoon grabbed a pad. Started writing. I'll have this notarized and sent to you by tonight. Thank you. Jinudrubaoma. Called a locksmith. Changed every lock on the house. Called a security company. Installed cameras. Alarms. Motion sensors. If his mother wanted to play dirty, he'd make sure every move she made was documented. His phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. What? Mr. Park, this is Attorney Kim again. I'm calling on behalf of my clients to remind you that the $10 million offer for Miss Williams expires in 48 hours. After that, tell your clients the offer is rejected. Permanently. And if they contact Naomi again, I'll file harassment charges. Mr. Park, you should consider. I'm done considering. Tell my mother she just made an enemy. And unlike everyone else she's crushed, I know where all the bodies are buried. He hung up. His hands were shaking. Not from fear. From rage. His entire life his mother had controlled everything. Who he married. How he worked. What he valued. And when he finally found something real, she tried to take it. Not this time. Jinho drove back to Naomi's apartment. Knocked. She opened the door. Eyes still red. I told you to leave. I know. But I need to tell you something first. Jinho stepped closer. I don't care what the police find. I don't care what my mother says. I don't care if the whole world thinks you're dangerous. I know who you are. You're the woman who held me when I wanted to die, who pushed me when I wanted to quit, who loved me when I was broken. And if you think I'm letting my family destroy that, you're wrong. Naomi's lip trembled. Gino. I hired an investigator to dig up everything on my mother. I filed a restraining order. I got your former supervisor to document your competence. I changed the locks. I installed security. And I'm going to keep fighting until my family understands you're not going anywhere. Tears spilled down her cheeks. Why? Because I made a mistake asking if you killed Marcus. Because I let my mother's poison get in my head. Because I failed you when you needed me most. And I'm done failing you. Naomi covered her face with her hands. Jinho pulled her close. She fought for a second. Then collapsed against him. I'm so tired, she whispered. I know. I don't know how to fight them. You don't have to. I'll fight them. You just have to trust me. She pulled back. Looked up at him. What if they win? They won't. How do you know? Because they're fighting for control. We're fighting for love. And love is meaner when it needs to be. Naomi almost smiled. That doesn't make sense. It will. His phone buzzed. Text from Taemin. Got something already. Your mother's been funding that detective's kid's private school for 3 years. Also found transfers to the medical examiner, who flagged Marcus Williams' case originally. Call me. Jinho showed Naomi the text. Her eyes widened. She bribed them. She tried to. Which means everything they've said is compromised. But how do we prove it? I have people who can prove anything. Jinho kissed her forehead. Pack a bag. You're coming home. Jinho, I can't. Yes, you can. Because our baby deserves to grow up with both parents in the same house. And because I'm not spending another night without you. Naomi hesitated, then nodded. She packed quickly. Clothes. Toiletries. The ultrasound photo she'd hidden in a drawer. They drove home in silence. When they pulled up, the new locks gleamed. Inside, everything was exactly as she'd left it. Except for one thing. On the kitchen table sat a folder. Jinho's handwriting on the tab. Evidence. What is this? Naomi asked. Everything Taemin found in the last 6 hours. Bank transfers. Bribed officials. Shell companies. My mother's entire network of corruption. Tomorrow, we take it to the police. We show them she manufactured this investigation. And we burn her world down. Naomi opened the folder. Page after page of financial crimes. Proof that Madame Choi had bought influence. Manipulated systems. Destroyed people who got in her way. This will ruin her, Naomi whispered. Good. She's your mother. She stopped being my mother when she tried to take you from me. Naomi closed the folder. Looked at Jinho. Are you sure? Because once we do this, there's no going back. I've never been more sure of anything. That night, they slept in the same bed. Naomi's head on his chest. His hand on her stomach where their daughter grew. And for the first time in days, neither of them had nightmares. Morning came with consequences. Jinho woke to 17 missed calls. All from his mother. He deleted them without listening. Naomi stirred beside him. What time is it? 7. We have a meeting at 9 with my lawyer and the evidence. She sat up. I'm nervous. Don't be. We have everything we need. His phone rang again. This time a different number. Gino answered. Hello. Mr. Park. Detective Han's voice. But different. Uncertain. We need to talk. Privately. About what? About who's been paying me to keep this investigation open. Jinho went still. You're admitting. I'm admitting I made a mistake. Your investigator contacted me last night. Showed me things I should have found myself. I've been used. And I don't like being used. What do you want? To close this case properly. Miss Williams did nothing wrong. Her husband died of natural complications. The medication discrepancies were normal for dementia care. I'm filing my report today stating there's no evidence of wrongdoing. The case is closed. Permanently. Jinho is just loosened. Why are you telling me this? Because your mother threatened my career if I didn't cooperate. She owns people. But she doesn't own me anymore. Also because my daughter deserves to go to a school I actually paid for. Not one bought with bribes. Thank you. Don't thank me. Just keep that woman safe. Your family doesn't quit easy. The line went dead. Jinho turned to Naomi. The detective closed the case. You're cleared. Naomi's eyes filled with tears. Really? Really? She collapsed against him, sobbing, relief pouring out of her in waves. Jinho held her. Let her break. Let her heal. Then his phone rang again. His mother. Again. This time he answered. Jinho. Her voice was ice. We need to talk. No, we don't. You hired someone to investigate me. You bribed my contacts. You turned the detective against me. I gave the detective evidence of your corruption. He made his own choice. You're making a mistake. No. I made a mistake trusting you. I'm fixing it now. If you release that evidence, you destroy this family. You destroyed this family when you tried to take my child. Silence. Then, come to the estate. Noon. We settle this like adults. I'm not coming alone. Bring her. Bring your lawyer. Bring whoever you want. But if you're going to burn me, do it to my face. She hung up. Naomi looked at him. What did she say? She wants to meet. Noon. At the estate. That's a trap. Probably. But I'm tired of running. Jinho. We go together. We bring Attorney Park. We show her the evidence. We give her one chance to back off. If she doesn't, we release everything to the police and the press. Naomi bit her lip. What if she tries something worse? Then we're ready. At 11:30, they drove to the estate. Attorney Park followed in his own car. Taemin texted. I'm parked down the street. Anything goes wrong, I'm there in 30 seconds. Jinho replied. Stay close. The gates opened. They walked to the front door. It opened before they knocked. Not the housekeeper. Sukya. Jinho's blood went cold. What are you doing here? Your mother invited me. We're all family, right? You're not family. I was. For 7 years. That counts for something. Jinho pushed past her. The study doors were open. Madame Choi sat behind her desk. But she wasn't alone. An older man stood by the window. Expensive suit. Silver hair. The kind of presence that made rooms feel smaller. Jinho. His mother gestured to chairs. Seat. Who's he? Jinho asked. Judge Kwon. Family court. He's here as a mediator. Jinho's stomach dropped. You brought a judge? I brought someone impartial who understands what's at stake. Judge Kwon turned. Mr. Park. Miss Williams. Please sit. This doesn't have to be adversarial. Everything with my mother is adversarial, Jinho said. They sat anyway. Naomi's hand found his under the table. Madame Choi folded her hands. You have evidence of financial impropriety. I assume you plan to release it. Unless you back off permanently, Jinho said. Define back off. Drop the investigation. Stop threatening Naomi. Leave us alone. And the baby? Is none of your business. Madame Choi's jaw tightened. That baby is a Park. That makes it my business. That baby is mine and Naomi's. Your involvement ends there. What if I refuse? Attorney Park slid the folder across the desk. Then we release this to federal investigators. Your shell companies. Your bribed officials. Your manipulation of law enforcement. All of it. Madame Choi opened the folder. Flipped through pages. Her face remained perfectly neutral. This proves nothing. It proves everything, Attorney Park said. Financial crimes. Obstruction of justice. Witness tampering. You'll face charges. From whom? You think federal prosecutors will take the word of a disgraced son and his caregiver girlfriend over a respected businesswoman with connections to half the government? We have documentation, Jinho said. You have theories. We have bank transfers with your signature. Madame Choi smiled. Transfers to legitimate charities and business investments. My accountants will confirm everything was legal. Your accountants will lie. Prove it. Jinho's hands curled into fists. His mother was right. She had lawyers, accountants, connections, people who'd swear she was innocent. The evidence was real. But would it be enough? Judge Kwon cleared his throat. Perhaps we can find a compromise. There's no compromise, Naomi said quietly. Everyone turned to her. She stood. I'm tired of being the problem everyone's trying to solve. I'm tired of being called a gold digger and a murderer and unsuitable. I'm tired of pretending I don't see what's happening here. Miss Williams, Madam Choi started. No. You don't get to talk anymore. You've said enough. Naomi's voice shook but held firm. You want this baby because it's a park. You want Jin-ho back because he's your son. But you don't care about either of them as people. You care about control. About legacy. About winning. That's not. You tried to bribe me. You reopened a closed case to destroy me. You brought a judge here to intimidate us. You're not a grandmother. You're a bully with money. The room went silent. Naomi pulled something from her pocket. An envelope. This is a DNA test appointment confirmation. I scheduled it for next week. When the baby's born, we're doing a paternity test. Official. Legal. Documented. Madam Choi frowned. Why would? Because when that test proves Jin-ho is the father, it also proves I didn't trap him. It proves this baby is legitimate. And it proves you have absolutely no legal standing to claim I'm unfit or manipulative. The science will back me. Judge Kwon nodded slowly. That's actually quite smart. And when that test comes back positive, Naomi continued, we're filing for a restraining order. If you come near me, Jin-ho, or our daughter, you'll be arrested. If you contact us, you'll be arrested. If you hire someone to harass us, you'll be arrested. You can't. Yes, we can. Because you just admitted in front of a judge that you bribed officials and manipulated investigations. He heard everything. Everyone looked at Judge Kwon. He raised his hands. I'm here as a private mediator, not in official capacity. But you're still an officer of the court, Attorney Park said. Legally required to report certain crimes if you witness them being discussed. Judge Kwon's face went carefully blank. Madam Choi's composure finally cracked. You set me up. No, Jin-ho said. You set yourself up. We just documented it. Suk-ja stood from her corner chair. This is insane. You're destroying your own family over a woman who... Shut up. Jin-ho didn't even look at her. You don't get a vote. You left. You don't come back. Suk-ja's face flushed. Madam Choi stood. If you do this, you're choosing her over me. I chose her months ago. You just didn't notice. You'll regret this. The only thing I regret is not doing it sooner. Madam Choi stared at her son. At the man who wasn't backing down. At the woman standing beside him who refused to be broken. Get out of my house. Jin-ho stood. Gladly. They walked out. Suk-ja tried to follow. Jin-ho, wait. He kept walking. In the car, Naomi exhaled. Did that actually work? I don't know, Jin-ho admitted. Attorney Park pulled up beside them. Rolled down his window. Judge Kwon just texted me. He's filing a report about what he heard. Your mother might actually face charges. Jin-ho is just loosened. Really? Really? Also, he's willing to testify if needed. He doesn't like being used as a prop. Naomi started crying. Is it over? Not yet, Jin-ho said. But we're winning. They drove home. Together. For the first time in days, the future didn't feel like a war zone. It felt like possibility. 3 weeks passed without contact. No calls from his mother. No lawyers. No threats. Just silence. Jin-ho didn't trust it. She's planning something, he told Naomi over breakfast. Or she's done. Naomi sippet kingertea. Morning sickness had gotten worse. Maybe the judge's report scared her. My mother doesn't scare. She strategizes. But days turned into a week. Then 2. Naomi's stomach started showing. A small curve under her shirts that made everything real in a way ultrasounds hadn't. Their daughter. Growing. Safe. Jin-ho caught himself staring sometimes. At Naomi reading on the couch. At her hand resting on her stomach. At the life they were building in the quiet spaces his mother's chaos had left behind. What? Naomi asked one evening, catching him looking. Nothing. Just thinking. About. How different everything is. Good different or bad different? Good. Scary. Both. Naomi set down her book. You ever regret it? Choosing this over your family? Every day I don't regret it proves it was the right choice. She smiled. Then her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. Hello. A woman's voice. Unfamiliar. Shaking. Is this Naomi Williams? Yes. Who's this? My name is Park Minesio. Im Jinusakujin. We've never met, but I need to tell you something about his mother. Naomi put it on speaker. I'm listening. She had a stroke. 2 days ago. She's in the hospital. It's bad. Jinho's face went pale. How bad? He asked. Minesio hesitated. She's conscious but paralyzed on her left side. The doctors say recovery will take months. Maybe years. She asked for you. I'm not coming. Jinho, she's your mother. She stopped being my mother when she tried to destroy my family. She's dying. Then she can die without me. Silence on the other end. Then, I understand. I just thought you should know. The line went dead. Naomi looked at Jinho. You okay? I don't know. Do you want to go see her? No. Are you sure? Jinho stood. Walked to the window. Stared out at nothing. She tried to take you from me. Tried to take our daughter. Had you investigated for murder? Bribed officials. Threatened us. And now she's sick and I'm supposed to forget all that because she's dying. I'm not saying forget. I'm saying maybe closure. Closure is her being unable to hurt us anymore. That's enough. But his hands were shaking. Naomi stood, crossed to him, took his hands in hers. I won't tell you what to do, but I know what it's like to watch someone die and have things unsaid. Marcus didn't recognize me at the end. I never got to say goodbye to the man I married. Just the shell he became. My mother knows exactly who she is. That's worse. Maybe. But you'll carry this either way. Go or don't go. Forgive or don't forgive. Just make sure you can live with the choice. Jinho closed his eyes. That night he didn't sleep. At 3 a.m. he got up. Found Naomi awake in the kitchen. Eating crackers. Fighting nausea. Can't sleep, she asked. Thinking about my mother. And I don't owe her anything. No, you don't. But I owe myself peace. Naomi nodded. Then go. Say what you need to say. Not for her. For you. Jinho drove to the hospital at dawn. The ICU smelled like antiseptic and despair. His mother's room was at the end of the hall. Private. Expensive. Machines beeping. Madame Choi lay in bed, smaller than he remembered. Gray hair loose. Face slack on one side. Eyes closed. Jinho stood in the doorway. Almost left. Then her eyes opened. She looked at him. Tried to speak. Her mouth moved but only half-formed words. Jinho stepped inside. I'm not here to forgive you. She blinked. Once. Slowly. I'm here because I need you to understand what you did. Jinho pulled a chair close. You tried to destroy the woman I love because she didn't fit your standards. You weaponized the law. You bribed officials. You reopened wounds that had healed. All because you couldn't stand that I chose someone you didn't approve of. Madame Choi's good hand moved slightly. Reaching. Jinho didn't take it. Naomi is the best person I've ever known. She stayed when everyone left. Loved me when I was broken. Asked for nothing. And you tried to make her into a villain because admitting she was good would mean admitting you were wrong. His mother's eyes filled with tears. You're dying. I know that. And part of me feels bad about it. But most of me feels relief. Because now my daughter gets to grow up without your poison. Without your manipulation. Without learning that love is something you control instead of something you give. A tear slipped down his mother's face. The right side. The side that still worked. I hope whatever time you have left, you think about what you lost. Not money. Not control. Me. Your son. Your granddaughter. Your family. You threw all of it away because you couldn't let go of who you wanted me to be. Jinho stood. Goodbye, mother. He walked out. Didn't look back. In the hallway, his cousin Minesio waited. She really asked for you, Minesio said. I know. She's scared. Alone. Everyone else in the family scattered when she got sick. No one wants to deal with her now that she can't control things anymore. That's what happens when you build relationships on fear. Minesio nodded. For what it's worth, I think you did the right thing. Leaving. Building your own life. She was toxic. Then why are you here? Because she's still family. And I'm not strong enough to walk away like you did. Minesio handed him an envelope. She wanted me to give you this. Before the stroke. She'd written it but hadn't sent it. Jin-ho took the envelope. Didn't open it. Drove home. Naomi was awake. Reading. Waiting. How did it go? I said what I needed to say. How do you feel? Lighter. Naomi gestured to the envelope. What's that? Letter from my mother. Written before the stroke. Are you going to read it? Jin-ho stared at the envelope. Part of him wanted to burn it. Part of him needed to know. He opened it. His mother's handwriting. Shaky. Rushed. Jin-ho, by the time you read this, you'll know I'm sick. The doctors told me 2 months ago. I didn't tell anyone. Stubbornness. Pride. The same things that made me push you away. I was wrong about Naomi. I see that now. She stayed when I would have run. Loved you when I taught you love was weakness. She's stronger than I ever was. And I hated her for it. I wanted you to choose me. Choose the family name. Choose power over love. Because that's what I chose my whole life, and I needed to believe it was worth it. It wasn't. I have money, influence, respect. But I'll die alone in a room where the only people visiting are paid to be there. You'll die surrounded by people who chose you. That's the difference between us. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I'm asking that you let our granddaughter know I existed. Not the monster I became. The woman I was before fear made me cruel. Tell her I'm sorry I never got to meet her. Tell her I hope she's more like her mother than her grandmother. Mother. Jin-ho set the letter down. His hands were shaking. Naomi read over his shoulder. She knew, Naomi whispered. She knew she was wrong. Knowing and changing are different things. But she tried. At the end. That counts for something. Jin-ho looked at Naomi. Does it? I don't know. But maybe our daughter should decide that when she's old enough. Jin-ho folded the letter. Put it in a drawer. Not thrown away. Not forgotten. Just kept. For later. For when his daughter asked about the grandmother she'd never meet. That night, Naomi fell asleep with her head on his chest. Jin-ho stared at the ceiling, thinking about his mother, about forgiveness, about the difference between understanding and absolving. His phone buzzed. Text from Min Seo. She died an hour ago. Thought you should know. She went peacefully. Jin-ho stared at the message. Felt nothing. Not grief. Not relief. Just closure. He looked at Naomi sleeping. At the curve of her stomach where their daughter grew. At the life they'd built from the ashes of everything his mother tried to burn down. And he realized something. His mother died believing love was weakness. He'd lived proving it was the only strength that mattered. The funeral was small. Expensive. Formal. Empty. Jin-ho stood in the back, watching distant relatives and business associates pretend to mourn a woman most of them feared. He didn't cry. Didn't speak. Just observed. Naomi stayed home. 7 months pregnant now. Too tired for performative grief. Sukja showed up. Black dress. Perfect makeup. Widow's veil despite having divorced the son, not buried the mother-in-law. She approached Jin-ho after the service. I'm sorry for your loss. No, you're not. Jin-ho. You're here because you think there's money. An inheritance. Something you can claim. There isn't. She left everything to charity. Sutyesmask slipper. What? Every account. Every property. Every investment. All of it donated to children's hospitals and disability services. She left me nothing. Left you nothing. Left everyone nothing. That's impossible. It's in writing. Notarized 3 days before she died. My lawyer confirmed it yesterday. Sukja's face went pale. But the estate doesn't exist anymore. She liquidated everything. The house will be sold. The cars. The art. All of it turned into donations. Why would she do that? Jin-ho pulled out a second letter. The one his lawyer had delivered that morning. Jin-ho, if you're reading this, I'm dead and you came to the funeral. Thank you for that. I'm leaving you nothing because you don't need my money. You built a life without it. You proved you're stronger than I ever was. I'm donating everything to causes that matter. Children. Disabled adults. People the world overlooks. People like Naomi saw value in when I only saw weakness. Maybe this is my apology. Too late. Too small. But it's all I have left to give. Take care of your daughter. Let her be soft. Let her be kind. Don't teach her to be me. Mother. Jinho folded the letter. Sukya started. She gave it all away. Yes. That was supposed to be yours. I never wanted it. Liar. Everyone wants money. No. Everyone wants what money represents. Security. Control. Freedom. I found those things without her fortune. You're still looking. Sukja's face twisted. You think you're better than me? No. I think I'm happier. There's a difference. She walked away. Jinho stayed until the cemetery emptied. Stood over his mother's grave. Thought about everything she was. Everything she wasn't. Everything she'd never become. I hope you found peace, he said quietly. I finally did. He left. Drove home. Naomi was in the nursery they'd been building, painting the walls a soft yellow. Moving slowly, carefully. You're supposed to be resting, Jinho said. I'm pregnant, not broken. She set down the brush. How was it? Strange. Sad. Final. Did Sukja show up? Yes. Looking for money that doesn't exist anymore. Naomi smiled slightly. Your mother really gave it all away? Everything. She donated it to causes that help people like you helped me. Naomi's eyes filled. That's actually beautiful. It's complicated. Most beautiful things are. Jinho looked around the nursery, at the crib they'd assembled together, the changing table, the rocking chair Naomi insisted they needed, their daughter's room, ready, waiting. 2 more months, he said. I know. I'm terrified. Why? Because what if I'm not good at this? What if I mess up? What if? Jinho kissed her forehead. You stayed with me when I couldn't walk. You held me when I was cruel. You loved me when I was unlovable. You'll be an amazing mother. How do you know? Because you already are. Naomi's hand found her stomach, where their daughter kicked against her palm like she was listening. That night, they lay in bed. Naomi couldn't get comfortable. Too big. Too tired. Too everything. Jinho rubbed her back until she finally dozed. His phone buzzed. Text from Taemin. Heard about your mother. You good? Jinho replied. Yeah. Surprisingly good. That woman of yours still around? She's not going anywhere. Good. Hold on to that one. Women who stay are rare. I know. Jinho set his phone down. Looked at Naomi sleeping. At the life they'd built from nothing. No empire. No fortune. No family name to carry. Just them. And it was enough. 2 weeks later, Attorney Park called. Jinho, we need to meet. Something came up with your mother's estate. I thought everything was settled. So did I. But there's a problem. A trust. Set up 20 years ago. Your mother couldn't touch it. It transfers automatically to her next of kin on her death. Jinho's stomach dropped. How much? 42 million. The world tilted. What? It's from your grandfather. Set up before he died. Your mother was the trustee but not the beneficiary. You are. She couldn't donate it because she never controlled it. It was always yours. You just didn't know. Jinho sat down. 42 million. In stocks, bonds, and cash. Completely legitimate. Completely yours. Your mother couldn't stop it even if she wanted to. Jinho hung up. Stared at nothing. Naomi emerged from the bedroom. Who was that? My lawyer. What did he want? Jinho looked at her. We're rich. What? There's a trust. From my grandfather. My mother couldn't touch it. It just transferred to me. $42 million. Naomi's legs gave out. Jinho caught her. Helped her sit. That's not real, she whispered. It's real. But your mother said. My mother didn't know. Or she knew and didn't tell me. Either way, it's ours now. Naomi covered her mouth. What do we do with it? I don't know. They sat in silence. Processing. Then Naomi started laughing. What's funny? Jinho asked. Your mother spent her whole life trying to control you with money. And in the end, you got the money anyway without her having any say in it. She lost. Completely. Jinho started laughing too. They sat on the floor of their small house, laughing until they cried, holding each other while their daughter kicked between them. That night they made a list. Things the money would buy. A bigger house with a yard. Accessible. Safe. college fund for their daughter, investments for security, donations to causes that mattered. And at the bottom of the list, Naomi wrote, "Keep living like we did before, just with better furniture." Jin-ho circled it. "That's the rule," he said. "The money changes our security, not our lives. Promise. Promise." 1 month later, Naomi went into labor. 17 hours. Jin-ho held her hand through all of it. When their daughter finally arrived, small, loud, perfect, Naomi looked at him with exhausted eyes. "What do we name her?" Jin-ho thought about his mother's letter, about second chances, about soft beginnings. "Minna," he said. "It means beautiful child." Naomi smiled. "It's perfect." They brought Minna home 3 days later, to a new house, bigger, safer, but still small enough to feel like theirs. That first night, Jin-ho stood over the crib, watching his daughter sleep, thinking about everything that led here. Paralysis, divorce, poverty, struggle, his mother's cruelty, Naomi's loyalty, the war they survived, the peace they built. "Thank you," he whispered. Naomi appeared behind him. "For what?" "For staying. For fighting. For choosing us. You made it easy." "I really didn't." Naomi wrapped her arms around him from behind. "No. But you made it worth it." They stood there, watching their daughter breathe. And Jin-ho realized his mother was wrong about everything except one thing. Love wasn't weakness. But it was the hardest thing he'd ever done. And the only thing that mattered. 3 years later, Minna ran through the backyard, chasing butterflies she'd never catch. 3 years old. Fearless. Loud. She had Jin-ho's eyes and Naomi's laugh and a stubbornness that belonged to neither of them. "Daddy, look." She pointed at a flower. "Pretty." Jin-ho bent down. "Very pretty. What color is it?" "Yellow. Like sunshine." "That's right." Minna ran off to find more treasures. Naomi sat on the porch, watching, reading a book Jin-ho had bought her about nothing important. Just something she wanted. Their house wasn't a mansion. Just a home with a yard. Enough bedrooms. A kitchen where they cooked together. A life built on choices, not obligations. The money sat in accounts, mostly untouched except for security and Minna's future. They didn't need it. They just had it. Jin-ho joined Naomi on the porch. "She's going to exhaust herself." "Good. Then bedtime will be easy." "Bedtime is never easy." Naomi smiled. "True." They sat in comfortable silence. 3 years of this. 3 years of normal. No threats. No lawyers. No family wars. Just life. "I got a letter today," Naomi said quietly. "From who?" "Sukya." Jin-ho tightened. What did she want? To apologize. She's in therapy. Says she's working on herself. Wanted me to know she's sorry for everything. Do you believe her? I don't know. But I wrote back. Why? Because holding on to anger was exhausting. I'm tired of carrying it. Jin-ho looked at her. You forgave her? No. But I let her go. There's a difference. Minna ran up. Dirt on her face. Flower in her hand. Mama. For you. Naomi took the half-crushed flower. It's beautiful. Thank you, baby. Minna beamed. Then noticed Jin-ho. Daddy, play. Play what? Tag. You're it. She took off running. Jin-ho chased her. Slowly. Letting her think she was faster. She squealed with joy. Naomi watched them. Her husband. Her daughter. Her life. Not perfect. But hers. Later that night, after Minna was finally asleep, Jin-ho and Naomi stood in the doorway of her room, watching her breathe. I think about your mother sometimes, Naomi said. Wonder what she'd think of Minna. She'd probably try to control how we raised her. Maybe. Or maybe she'd just love her. We'll never know. No. But Minna knows about her. We showed her the letters. Told her the story. Age-appropriate version. Still, she knows her grandmother existed. That she was complicated. That's enough. Jin-ho nodded. They closed Minna's door. Walked to their bedroom. Changed for bed. Lay in darkness. Do you ever regret it? Naomi asked. Choosing me over your family? Over everything you had. Jin-ho turned to face her. I didn't choose you over anything. I chose you because of everything. Because you showed me what actually matters. What matters? This. Right now. You. Mina. The butterfly she caught in her hand today, and let go because she didn't want to hurt it. That's what matters. That's very poetic for midnight. I'm tired. I get poetic when I'm tired. Naomi laughed. Soft. Real. Jin-ho pulled her close. Thank you for staying, he whispered. Thank you for being worth it. They fell asleep like that. Together. The way they'd been for years. The way they'd be for years more. Outside, the world kept turning. People fought wars over money and power and control. Built empires that crumbled. Destroyed relationships for pride. But in a small house with a yellow flower on the kitchen counter, and a 3-year-old dreaming about butterflies, 2 people who'd survived the worst discovered something better than winning. They discovered enough. Enough money to be secure without being consumed. Enough love to build a family without breaking it. Enough peace to let the past die without dragging it forward. Jin-ho woke once in the night. Checked on Mina like he did every night. She was tangled in her blankets. Stuffed rabbit clutched to her chest. Completely at peace. He fixed her blankets. Kissed her forehead. Whispered. You're going to grow up knowing you're loved. Not because of what you do. Not because of what you have. Just because you exist. That's the only thing I want you to know. Minestierd. Daddy. Go back to sleep, baby. Love you. Love you too. She drifted off. Jin-ho stood there. Thinking about his mother. About the woman who taught him love was currency and weakness and control. About Naomi. Who taught him love was just love. Simple. Complicated. Worth everything. He walked back to bed. Naomi was awake. She okay? She's perfect. You say that every night. Because it's true every night. Naomi smiled. Closed her eyes. Jin-ho lay beside her. Stared at the ceiling. And for the first time in his life, he had no questions. No wondering if he made the right choice. No fear about what came next. Just certainty. This was it. This was the life his mother said didn't exist. The one where you could be happy without being powerful. The one where you could have enough without having everything. The one where love wasn't a transaction or a weapon or a weakness. It was just the thing that made waking up matter. Jin-ho closed his eyes. And in the quiet of a house filled with small joys and imperfect moments, he finally understood what his mother never could. Winning wasn't about having the most. It was about losing everything that didn't matter, so you could keep what did. He'd lost an empire, a family name, and a mother's approval. And gained a daughter who chased butterflies. A wife who stayed when everyone ran. A life that felt like home. That was victory. Not the kind anyone would write about. Not the kind that built legacies or monuments. Just the quiet kind that let you sleep at night without wondering if tomorrow would cost you everything you love. Jin-ho exhaled. Let peace settle into his bones. And for the first time since he woke up paralyzed in a hospital bed thinking his life was over, he realized the truth. His life didn't end that day. It began. Everything before was preparation. Everything after was living. And the woman sleeping beside him? She didn't save him. She showed him how to save himself. That was worth more than $42 million. More than his mother's approval. More than any empire he could have built. In the morning, Mina would wake them early. Demand pancakes. Spilius. Laugh too loud. And they'd be tired and frustrated and perfectly happy. Because that was parenthood. That was marriage. That was life. Not a fairy tale. Not a tragedy. Just a story about 2 people who survived the worst and built something worth keeping from the ashes. The kind of story that doesn't make headlines, but makes everything else worth surviving. Jin-ho fell asleep holding Naomi's hand. And somewhere in whatever came after, maybe his mother finally understood. You can have everything and have nothing. Or you can have enough and have everything that matters. The choice was always simple. People just made it complicated. Jin-ho chose simple. And simple saved his life.